It seemed tonight that every time these guys needed a big play, someone different made a big play. Is that a fair assessment of the group effort?
Yeah, I think it was they were chipping away at it, which was expected in the second half, and thought we had a bunch of chances there to kind of hit some big shots and missed a few, but then finally, kind of at the end of some of those 2 or 3 or 4 possessions that were empty, somebody stepped up and made a three or and one or tough driving basket or something like that. Yeah.
OG in that fourth quarter, I think he had 3 really, really strong moves to the basket for layups, and then guarded Giannis as well as he possibly could in that quarter. What did you see from him in that fourth quarter?
Yeah, he made 2 great drives, Doug. But then my favorite play is when he drove in there and flipped it kind of off his side to DeAndre Cutting. So he had awareness. He had enough awareness to kind of slam on the brakes and find the cutter, which was a big basket, big time of the game too. So a couple good hard drives, and then reacted to the help defense on the third one. So he played good, and you mentioned, I think he worked all night on Giannis, and that's what you got to do.
Thanks, and congratulations. Safe trip up to Midi.
Thanks, Doug.
We will go to Mike Ganter.
Hey, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Good, thanks. Wanted to ask you, Bembry. I mean, you said before the game you weren't sure. You had 2 options. Who was the second option if you hadn't started Bembry? And then what did you think of what you got out of Bembry tonight? I mean, I know the numbers weren't huge, but.
No, he was great. I think that the biggest concern coming into the game was Kyle had just done a great job on Middleton, right? And he was gone, and that's a big assignment to give a guy that, hasn't started for us all year, and guarding an all-star and trying to set the same kind of tone or keep it going from the night before. Obviously, he did a good job of working on him. And that's it. He worked, and he moves the ball, and he made a big cut there late. I thought he turned down probably a couple chances to shoot a 3, but he was, in the spirit of just kind of moving to the next play. It's good to have guys, like you, to kind of does that too. When he was playing a little bit more, it was just cutting and moving and passing is good to have out there with some intelligence.
He also seems to be a guy who stops the ball. I mean, there were a few times where Giannis looked like he was going to get wound up there and just go at it, and he just steps in front of him and slows him down. Yeah,
he's got a good feel, Mike, for what's going on out there. He really does. He knows who he's guarding, and he can apply some heat. I really like him on kind of 2 guards or guys that are getting screened for a lot. He seems to navigate those really well. And you're right. Then he makes the help plays when he needs to. He makes the right rotations, which is good. It's, he hasn't been with us all that long to be making some of those kind of plays.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Congrats.
You're welcome, Mike.
Next question goes to Eric Corrine.
Hey, Nick. In the past with Giannis and Lopez out there, you guys have sort of at times struggled to really get into the paint and do damage there. It seems the last 2 games, and especially tonight, there was a lot of emphasis on, even if you were kicking it out at the end, getting into the paint. So I guess what was the difference between not doing that and being able to do it more successfully?
Yeah, just some more patience, Eric, and composure. I think that, early on, you in the shot clock, you maybe, you get a gap to punch in, and you see Lopez or Giannis there. Probably a good idea to not challenge them.
Yeah.
Right. So you go in and you kick it out, and because they're in, there's usually a safety valve out there, and then you go into your next action. I think again, we stress that as a key to the game to really take composed, or really have composed offensive possessions. And again, most of the game we did it. I think there was a couple that we would take back where we, again, went at those guys too early and came away with nothing, and then they're laying it in at the other end, but not very many. And then they went small and started switching where we didn't probably keep freely cutting and getting into our drive, kick, swing game as well. But overall, really composed offense.
The second quarter, Milwaukee only scores 15 points, and there's a couple guys on the floor for you guys who aren't necessarily known as defensive stoppers. What was going on defensively for you that, got got things going.
Who would those guys be, Eric?
Well, Matt Thomas was on the floor for one, but my words, not yours.
Well, the key in those kind of things is that the team executes the scheme, right? You understand who you're guarding. You understand if you're supposed to be plugging gaps. You understand if you're supposed to be double teaming or whatever. And if you're doing the help team defensive things, then you become a really effective defensive player, I guess would probably be my answer without watching the film.
The entire Midwest is going to hate me now. Thanks.
That's what you get, Eric.
We'll go to Josh Lewinberg.
Hey, Nick. I'm not going to insult any of your players. I wanted to follow up on OG, actually. It seems like one of the areas he's really improved in over the years is his balance, and you could really see that on some of the drives over the last couple games. How much have you seen him work on that over the years? And I guess, how do you work on something like that?
Yeah, again, I think it's something he really wants to work on, Josh. Again, I think he wants to be a player that can take it off the bounce from the perimeter and then make plays or finish or find the open area if the help comes. He works on it a lot. And the key is what I just said, it's at the start and the finish, right? So you got to understand that the first move to get by your primary defender, and then what are you going to do at the end? And you mentioned the balance already, and that's certainly progressing, right? I think the degree of difficulty on some of those is up there a little bit, right? Yeah, but again, I really like that he finds that easy dump off when he does drive and draw help, because that's what you're going to start seeing. If you start getting by the primary defender, you're going to see bodies coming, and you got to be able to make the next play safely. And those are the ones that excite me. I mean, listen, I like his drives too, because he gets a couple really important baskets. I love his off-ball cuts when he gets under the hoop and gets that pass, for that little reverse kind of dunk thing that he does. So it's good that I think it'll help him. I think it'll help him get to the free throw line a bit as well, as we progress here.
Second game where you've gotten some really good minutes from Aaron off the bench. Is there a reason why you think he's been a good fit in that role?
Well, I just think that, first of all, he did play very, very well both nights, Josh. I don't know if that has much to do with it. I just think that, most of the guys were in tune, right? Most of the guys were contributing, a lot, in both ends, and screening and rebounding and all that kind of stuff. And he just, again, I thought he played a super composed game. He made some tough moves. I thought he didn't, maybe, I don't know if he got very many rebounds, but what I did notice was that he was carving a lot of space. I think he was occupying, several people where somebody else may go get the ball, but I thought his presence inside on the defensive glass was important.
Thanks, Nick. Have a good night.
Okay, Josh, thanks.
Next question goes to Michael Grange.
Hey, Nick. How are you guys different when you don't have Kyle playing? I mean, you certainly proved to be successful, going back to last season. I think it's like 16-0 is now the run you're on when Kyle.
Really?
Yeah, like including games where he's left with injury. So like the other night. But so how are you guys different? Like why it can't just be one thing, but what do you see about your team without your best player?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he certainly gives us a lot. And like I said, I was worried about the defensive side of it. I know that sounds probably silly because he's one of our primary scorers, but I was really worried about the way he's been guarding lately. He's been outstanding. So that's the first thing that somebody's got to pick up the slack on. And then Michael, I would only say that similar again, like, when Kawhi used to go out, there's a number of shots that need to get distributed, and they kind of get distributed. It's not like we just, they go to whoever replaced them. They kind of get distributed around, and that has been successful for us no matter who's out, really, especially if it's one of our primary scorers, Kawhi, Pascal, Kyle, Fred, whatever.
Yeah, so Kyle's holding you back? No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to be funny like Eric. Didn't work.
That wasn't that funny, Michael, but
Well, Eric's wasn't funny either.
sometimes that, and then it becomes funny.
Yeah,
Of course not. Of course not.
and
We need him out there, Michael, to be our best version of ourselves without a question.
and then when you look at Fred's game when he's not playing with Kyle, what does he bring a little extra?
Well, he certainly has the ball, probably a lot more, and he certainly, kind of takes on a lot more of the leadership role, right, with him out there, without him out there, and that's just kind of natural. Kind of gets us back to, a 1 point guard system, which is normal, right?
Fair enough. I'll give up now. Good night.
Okay, Michael, you have a good night.
We've got time for one more, Coach. We're a bit of a time crunch. We'll go to Steve from Associated Press.
Just what you saw out of Powell today, 12 shots, 29 points, just his efficiency. How big was that? And particularly in that, when y'all were kind of building that lead there late in the first, early in the second.
Yeah, I think, Steve, I was really hoping that he was going to have a big game tonight. He was really quiet the other night and a bit frustrated. Ball just wasn't finding him. That happens some nights especially when you're kind of a two guard, depending on the game plan or where the ball just gets to. Some nights it doesn't. And I was really hoping that he was going to come, just bounce right back from that, because he's been kind of having these kind of nights. Well, maybe not this kind of night, but similar nights where he's really putting up a lot of points and just really looking solid in his decision making. When it's open, he rises up and pulls the three, and when they press up on him, he's quick to make the decision to get to the rim, and he's getting fouled or getting a good close shot. So he's really been good decision wise, decisive, and I think that was, again, he was aggressive and decisive tonight.